Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2017 Texas Chainsaw prequel, Leatherface. The film is directed by Alexandra Bustillo and Julian Moore, and it has amongst its writers Toby Hooper, and who also was one of the producers as well. It stars Stephen Dorff, Lily Taylor, Sam Strike, Vanessa Grass, Finn Jones, and Sam Coleman. Okay, so the film is set at the time when Leatherface is a teenager. He is living in that quite poorly house. His mother, played by Lily Taylor, Verna, is not raising her children particularly well. And they unfortunately kill the local sheriff, Stephen Dorff's daughter. He doesn't take too kindly to that, so he takes Verna's children off her, one of them being a young Leatherface. He has him put in a local asylum where he lives for the next few years away from his family. They don't get treated particularly well at this asylum, as you could imagine, and he, as well as two other inmates, escape and kidnap one of the nurses and kind of go on a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde rampage around the countryside. Why? What are my thoughts on Leatherface? Well, everything about this film should tell you it shouldn't work. The whole concept of Leatherface as a teenager, does anybody want to see that, really? It seems quite an odd thing, and it's almost like they can't leave franchises alone. There's no mystery anymore. Did we ever need a prequel? We've already explored the early lives of this family. We've had Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. No, that's not good enough. Okay, let's go it back even further, and we'll go for Leatherface, as a teenager. So I kind of went into this. I'd seen some of the low scores. I went into this one not really expecting a great deal, to be honest. And other than the fact that this film clearly didn't need to exist, it just didn't. And if you're a massive fan of this franchise, you probably look at this film with a bit of disdain because of it. But if you just take this film on its merits alone, there's actually quite a decent film here that I quite enjoyed. Just from the merits of this film, if you take all that baggage away that I've just spoken about, there is an half decent film underneath all this. The film's not exactly subtle. It's got a very Devil's Rejects feel to it. Initially, it plays like a TV movie. It's got a very weird opening title sequence. It's like a TV movie starting or something. It just felt very cheap to start with. The jailbreak that takes place is completely implausible, but I get it. They needed to have the jailbreak, so I understand all that. But beyond that, it's actually quite well put together, with some interesting character moments here. Now, the film is not as intelligent as it thinks it is, though, or it treats its audience like imbeciles. It's one or the two, or a bit of both, because who they present in this film as the obvious candidate to be Leatherface is so clearly not. And they even do this in the trailer. They present this character for you to kind of think, oh, that's Leatherface. It has to be Leatherface, him. And there are a couple of moments in the film where you're thinking, it's too obvious, it can't be him. But then you start thinking, well, I could be wrong, it might be him. But then you kind of lean on your common sense again. You think, no, it's far too bloody obvious. So I mean, it's not subtle in that sense, and it's hard to swallow the journey that this character goes on to become Leatherface at the end and to do some of the things that he does at the end, it you kind of think, well, okay, I get it. You're hurt, you're upset, you're injured, but okay, does that really warrant you doing what you've just done? To me, it doesn't. You know what I mean? The transformation into Leatherface, I think, needed a little bit more thought to make this a little bit, to elevate this, I think, a little bit. I think if they needed to put a little bit or a lot more thought into aspects of this film to really make it work, because the difficulty you have here in this film as well is there's no one to root for other than the nurse that they kidnap from the hospital, from the asylum. Beyond that, there's nobody really to root for here. They're all fairly, like I say, it goes down a, Bonnie and Clyde stroke Devil's Rejects route with these characters, where they're just kind of, for the most part, enjoying the butchery of what they're doing, apart from a couple. And that's what makes it so obvious as to who Leatherface is going to turn out to be. The conclusion of the film was pretty obvious as well. So I think for me, if there'd have been a bit cleverer writing here, I think they could have delivered a fairly layered and complex character piece underneath all the glamour and gore sort of thing. But they don't, if you like. They go down the more expected route, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say here. But this is, for me, not the worst film in the franchise that I have watched so far, because I've never seen this one before. The last one that I watched, Texas Chainsaw 3D, was that one? The one with Alexandra Daddario. I thought that was a bit daft. And the beginning one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, I kind of felt a little bit like this. It had no reason to exist, but if you take away all the baggage and forget that it's like a franchise film, it's a well-made film. And that's what I mean for this, is if you take away all that baggage and just judge it on the merits of the film itself, it's a decent film. It's well made, the good performances, got some good actors in here. There are some gripping moments, there's some interesting kills, that kind of stuff. It's just where it fits in the franchise and where it doesn't really need to exist at all is one that I think I understand how big fans of this franchise would have struggle accepting this film, if you like. So yeah, didn't hate this one at all. I thought it was well put together. If it was, like I say, it didn't make a great deal of sense. So thanks for checking out this review, guys. I will of course be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.